I just want your party and I want it now. I waited for too long, I need you somehow. Give me just a second, I'm getting down. I'm getting down, I'm getting down. For all the time I stayed, I was missing something. If you think I am a game, better change your mind. I've been wondering all day, do you really love me? When things are going wrong and you know why. Maybe I'm just paranoid, paranoid. I have a feel stuck in my head. I'm so paranoid, paranoid. You will never know what you mean to me. What you mean to me.
Ooh. So if it stops for whatever reason, you can see that why it stopped. All right, let's see where I should put this on your glasses. Wait, how'd you?
You go to the side and you do a little side pinch.
Just one in my mouth.
Classic side pinch. There you go. Yep.
Like this?
Kind of. Yeah, that works.
What about this?
Oh, that'll be like right there. Yeah, it works.
No, you gave me a weird look when I did that one. Hold on.
I just feel like it'll be like miking your neck instead of your mouth. So if your neck makes any weird neck farts, then that's what it's gonna get.
Neck
I don't know if
farts?
that's a thing.
No, they are, dude.
You do that?
People die from neck farts, bro.
It's the #1 cause of death in America.
What is
neck
behind
farts.
my head?
A chair.
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting in a chair. Is this a good mic record? Am I in it?
Yeah.
It honestly looks angled off of me.
No, I can see it fully well. Looks really good.
Because, like, from my perspective, it looks like it's not getting me.
Like the flies are the star of the show right now.
Is that how it is for you, too? Does it look like it's not getting you, too? Like, it's...
No, it's pretty well angled.
No, I mean, like, the camera, like, it doesn't look like it's pointed here. Look at me. Like, here, not on you. It looks like it's pointed here.
Yeah, that's about the center point. You're a little bit...
Yeah, so the camera, it doesn't look like the camera's on you. It just looks like it's centered. That's what I was...
centered, yeah.
Yeah, it looked a little weird to me, too. We tried getting Javier on. That didn't work.
Did I text him? No, I didn't text him.
No, he was going to text him. He was going to text when he gets out, but it's fine.
It's probably just... He really wants his Asian shooter right now.
So, let's give a little introduction.
Okay.
So, I met you from Lurefish House, but what's your name, man? Who are you?
My name is Caleb Bailey. That's all you need to know.
Alright, that's pretty good.
I'm just kidding.
You're kidding?
Is there anything else to know?
I don't know, what else
you said?
Well, I was just going to ask you, because you said you were on Dunkirk.
Yeah, we're going to jump right into that.
Let's jump right into that.
We'll jump right into
How did you get a spot to be an extra on Dunkirk?
Man. Long story short,
like someone you knew?
No, I've grown up doing acting, mostly stage acting. I do musicals and, and stuff. And
are you serious?
Yeah, the lady who originally got me into acting is one of my close friends' moms. She recommended us starting to try some film and commercial stuff through a website called LA Casting, which is a pretty widely used one for extras and whatnot. And anyway, it was kind of a funny story how it happened. And it was the week before I left for school, so it was back in 2016, and I got the casting call for it was the title of it was Bodega Bay, and it said it was a 1940s British soldier film, basically. And I thought it was just another kind of indie film, maybe, or didn't really say anything about it being a feature film. And I thought, well, I got a week before school. I kind of want to prepare and be ready for that, so I'm going to turn down this opportunity. I go to see Suicide Squad that night, and I see a preview for the newest Christopher Nolan movie, which is Dunkirk. And I thought, wow, that looks incredible. Wait a minute. Set in about the 1940s. British actors with, Tom Hardy in it. Actually, I think he's Australian. And
no, I think he's British.
Is he? Okay. One of my favorite actors, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
Love
he's playing Venom. He's gonna be playing Venom. I'm excited for that movie.
I watched a movie the other night called Lock. It's on Netflix. It's an hour-and-a-half movie filmed completely in a car, and it doesn't leave the car at all.
I heard about that.
It's
I
really
haven't
good.
seen it. Okay, I'll check that
I
out.
recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I see the preview. I'm like, wow,
So
it
you
looks
didn't
awesome.
even know.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I go home and my mom says, "Hey, I did a little bit more research on that film, and there's a lot of stuff on Google when I type in the keywords there lead to this movie with Tom Hardy in it,
Right.
and Christopher Nolan's directing it." And I go, "Is it Dunkirk?" She's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I'm pretty sure this is Dunkirk that they're doing a casting call for." And I was like, I can't pass up this opportunity. I'll go to school late if needs be, but I need to do this. So I called the agent back up and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I know I turned down the job, but is there any chance you guys still need extras?" She's like, "Yeah, we can fit you in."
Wow, you turned it down.
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay.
Yeah. And so I went in that next day, and they gave me a 1940s haircut that all the British soldiers had.
Yeah, what was that like?
It's kind of like a fade into it. Kind of looked a bit like a bowl cut, but it wasn't. It was like a nice fade, like an army
Yo,
fade.
can you fix my mic? 'Cause I don't know if this is right.
Where does it need to go?
For anyone listening to the audio version of this, I don't know, where should it go? Is it fine right there? Does it look fine?
It looks fine. And
Okay, let's just leave it right there.
Voice. Yeah.
All right.
Glad you guys could experience that.
Yeah.
Don't edit it out.
No, especially not on the audio version. So I'm having a difficulty getting this on iTunes. I'm trying to figure that all out.
Dude, I'm the worst person to ask for that.
But I'm probably just gonna put it on SoundCloud for now, and then figure out how to get it on iTunes.
Along with your SoundCloud raps. I heard you're becoming a SoundCloud rapper.
The other Nickon.
Is he actually?
Yeah, it's not me. That was the other Nickon.
What's his name? I actually was just making that up right now.
Nikan. Nickon.
But like, is that what it is on SoundCloud?
I have no idea.
Okay, I need to ask him about that. Does he work today with you?
No.
Who works today with you?
I don't know if we should put that on the air. I'll tell you later.
That's fair. Okay.
Ari and some other person. She's training another host, so that's it.
Oh, it's a training.
So you got a haircut. What was like going on set?
Dude, so it was at Warner Brothers that we were filming, and the call time was 5 a.m, which isn't bad because before I've had a 4 a.m. call time at USC, so it was
wow.
This was fine. And I show up, and it's basically a bunch of late 20s, early 30s, actors, all men. So it's a little bit. You go there, and they're all like professional, and
really,
I'm this little 18-year-old kid. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like a little bit intimidating.
How old are you now?
I'm 20.
Okay,
so
since about 2 years ago. Wow.
Yeah. Almost on the spot because it happened in August.
Mm.
And I get there and they start shooting us up, dude. Yeah, me being the skinny little 18-year-old white kid there, they gave me the least amount of costume. They literally put like army underwear on, which is like a t-shirt and underwear right here, and then literally a gas jacket, which is the thinnest material ever. So it's really cold there in the morning, and that's all I have on. But I was like, hey, it's Dunkirk. I can do this. That's fine. Everyone else had full-on army uniforms, but they gave me that for whatever reason. One day, if I meet Christopher Nolan again, I can ask him about it.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan.
And
Christopher Nolan, take that.
So, so then I'm kind of like waiting in line for makeup, and I see Harry Styles walk out of his trailer.
I forgot he was in it. Holy cow.
And I was like, what the heck is
Harry?
Styles?
Oh, I just smacked the mic with my chin. Were you like Harry?
Yeah. No, I didn't say anything yet. And then they drive us in these little golf carts over to the set, and it's a water-specific set. One of the stages there. And
that's crazy, dude. Okay.
Yeah, and so we get in there, and we get down, and it's like half of the stage is like normal ground, and it's inside this like warehouse. That's where the stages are there.
Right.
And then it drops down into this just like lake of water, and then there's this box in the middle of it. So we all walk down to it, and we go on the inside, and the inside is the set of like the kitchen of a battleship, but it's just in this box, this simulator.
Wow.
We spent 5 hours filming a scene where Harry and the main protagonist, the kid His name's Finn.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen Dunkirk.
Whitehead. Oh, okay.
Can I see you in it if I looked at it?
No, people kept thinking they saw me, but everyone looks the same, and I wasn't in the final shot. I'll get to it.
Oh, so you're not even in Dunkirk?
Basically, no.
Want to get out of here, dude? I'm kidding. That
Spoiler
sucks.
alert.
Keep going. Sorry, keep going. Wow.
Yeah. So
whatever you want to say, but so you're there for 5 hours. And
so the first 5 hours. This is from like 7 to 12. We're filming that scene where they literally walk down the stairs, say 4 or 5 lines, and walk back up, and they just took so many different. I put my hand in here now. I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why? Whatever he wants to do, I'll let him do it. You can put your phone in that one.
Oh, true. Your water bottle was in there earlier.
I took it out now.
And they give us a lunch break. Really good food. We get back and
What kind of food was it? Taco Bell.
Well, honestly, it was fun. No, it was.
I want
catered
that
food.
Pizza Hut. I want that Taco Bell. I want that combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. Have you heard of that song?
No.
I want that combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. I don't think that's how they say combination. I want that combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. I want the people are like, my mom's like, because my mom watches my podcast. Like, you don't even let your guests talk. You just talk over them. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But like,
I haven't watched a full podcast of yours yet. That's my confession.
It's okay. Thanks for being honest. Well, now that we got the audio version on SoundCloud, I think you'll jig my voice.
Well, the video versions are on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I have the videos of everything so far just on YouTube, just because that's where I saw podcasts mostly on. Like, I watched the Joe Rogan Experience, and it was all on YouTube. So
and Chris D'Elia, obviously.
I watched a couple of his stuff, but not really a lot.
Okay.
I don't know. Joe Rogan's really cool though. He's I listen to him. Whatever. Let's go on to your Dunkirk thing. So 7 to 12. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Or
yeah, because this is the craziest part.
Okay, tell me. Yeah. Like, yeah, because this is the whole reason why I'm telling you this. Let me talk.
We'll leave it hanging for a bit. Come back in 30 minutes to talk about it
after these paid commercial breaks. Go, dude.
So yeah, we go back in, and then by the way, like, Christopher Nolan he's right there.
No way.
Filming everything. He's there. He's really involved, which is it's cool to see because you work on sets with a lot of directors who are very removed from the whole situation, and we're kind of waiting around, and Harry Styles is between him and the main guy. He's actually shyer than the other actor, and so he's kind of hanging out in the corner. And I was like, how many times are you going to be in the same room as Harry Styles? So I made my way on over, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Just started talking to him. We talked about the Olympics for a little bit. He's a really cool, down to earth guy. It's funny. I hated One Direction in high school because
I still hate One Direction, but yeah, keep going.
I have a lot of respect for them now, man. Like, Steal My Girl that's an anthem right there, man.
I don't know that song.
Oh, you gotta go.
I listened to his "Stop Your Crying." It's the sign of the times. I've heard that one.
That's just him.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, he's good as a solo artist. He's really good. Anyway, yeah. So then the assistant director is making all the announcements. He's like, "All right, guys, we're gonna film the scene where the torpedo hits the ship. And the way the simulator is built is there's gonna be just a really big jolt after the lights flicker. We'll give you guys kind of on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7 of it right now, just to give you a demo, and then it'll be a 10 in the actual filming." So they show us, and it just like kind of shakes you up a bit. You're like, okay, cool. So they call 3, 2, 1, action. Lights flicker. Lights go out. The whole thing shakes, and the wall bursts open, and water starts flooding in, and like the stunt doubles like flip off of the beds, and the tables flip over, and all of us have no idea. We're freaking out. We're like, what is going on? Like, we're like climbing over the like counter, like trying to get out, and then they're like, cut. And I see like some medics like come in and pick up the stunt doubles, and I was like, is this an accident? And then the assistant director goes, all right, patch it up, we'll run it again. They didn't tell us about the water or the wall bursting open on purpose to get the surprise effect on camera.
Wow.
And then they run it like 3 or 4 more times. It was like those 3 or 4 more times were like a water park. Dude.
What happened that they didn't use your part? They just had extra parts. Do you think
Well, it's a small room with a lot of people compacted into it, and so the way the shot came in as they came down is like, here's the frame, and here's the room, and the frame catches. It gives you, when you come in, you see the perspective of how many people are in it, but when you get the up close shots, I'm like right outside the frame, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so they still use that frame, it's just you're not like super visible.
Right.
But okay, so tell us some more about, like, is there anything else you want to add to that? Or
not really, no.
Because that's an amazing story, but like I feel like there's a lot, with acting that's it's really tough to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you said you were a childhood actor, so you were always like participating and stuff. Like can you talk about what that's like any of the pressures, or how a lot of times you'll go in for? Have you ever done auditions and stuff like that?
Oh,
Have you
yeah,
been
yeah.
through that? Can you talk about that process? If you don't
Yeah.
mind?
So it's interesting. I'm not your typical like childhood actor growing up. It's not like I was. I knew a lot of kids who were like constantly in shows, like back to back. Like they'd finish a show and audition for another, and finish a show. Because I did multiple things, including
Right.
like basketball and music and acting growing up, and I kind of tried to. My parents wanted me to be
Yeah.
a little bit more well-rounded than just picking one thing and give me a bunch of different options, which I really appreciate coming out of it.
Right.
But
Right. Wait,
yeah,
hold on. Can you not talk for a second?
sure.
Right. 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 You can see the screen. I'm just making sure my audio's coming through.
Yeah.
Right.
Test it.
All right. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. There you go.
But the audition process, yeah, it's funny. Like I said, I've been doing music. Like I took piano since I was 7, so I'd play in recitals, and that kind of like since I was 7, I was under that pressure a lot. So being in front of judges or people who are judging your performance or kind of just like an audition in that sense, I had been exposed to that from an early age.
Okay.
So that by the time I was 15, 16, 17, auditions weren't too big of a scare for me, even though there's always a bit of a little bit of an adrenaline rush going into it.
I've just heard a lot about like when people go to auditions, how tough it is to. It's like the acting process as a whole is really tough because
Oh yeah.
passing an audition, doing through the audition, then if they're gonna use you in the final cut or not use you, and I have to start out as extras and all this, like kind of getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And I was curious if you had any light on that, because I've been hearing a lot of that from the podcast I've been listening to about just like how hard acting is. So
It is, yeah. Like I said, I didn't really get into film towards the like latter end of high school, so I did a lot of extra stuff. And that really is what it is. I met so many people who moved from the East Coast, like Pennsylvania and New Jersey and whatnot, and left their families behind and everything behind to move to Hollywood and be actors. And I'm like, oh, so how long have you been here? Expecting like 2 months, 3 months, and they're like 3 years, and they're an extra with me in this. And I'm like, that's tough. Like, you're making this wage that's you're just continually going to these sets as extras, hoping one day to make it make it big, and the percentage of those who make it big is small, and in the end it's really who you know. Like that's what it is in most businesses and most
industries. That's what I've heard.
But acting even more so. You look at a lot of the big actors these days, and a lot of them are strictly just incredibly talented, but a big majority knew someone or had the money, and that's what made the connection. Maybe that's kind of a shallow statement. I don't know.
No, that's
completely true. But
that's a true statement. It's just it unfortunately is like that.
Right.
It's really like a you scratch my back, I scratch your back, friend family kind of business.
Right.
Getting in. If you don't have the in or the connection,
you got to have that uncle.
It's almost
or
impossible.
Aunt or parent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about like platforms like YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it allows people to put up their content and let other people view it. Whether that be through making their podcasts or making their videos. I mean, it's not easy though. I mean, it's getting tough. There's a lot of people putting out content, but I like that there is that a place where you can try to put out your creativity without having an executive or a director or some other person try to put it in their view. And because like a lot of times all these movies and stuff, there's so much stuff that goes into it as far as what the Warner Bros. What the studio wants versus what the director wants versus what the actor wants. And a lot of times there's a lot of, I think, what's it called? Opinions, but like drawbacks or setbacks and like stuff that don't let the movie be as good as it could have been because of all these other things weighing it down.
A primary example of that, and I'm sure a lot of Star Wars buffs may attack me for this because I don't know a ton about Star Wars, but the newer Star Wars movies since Disney took over, I feel, and I don't know how true this is, but I feel like the script was much different, and then Disney came in and changed a lot of things, and that's what kind of made them.
I just feel that with anything where they try to recreate it again or bring it back, it almost always fails in a certain way. And what I mean is like Star Wars, classics, old. I mean, even the later ones in 2000. So you're right, they did bring it back in the 2000s. So those weren't that bad. They were pretty good. but those stories were really tied in with the whole Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and I don't know if this is a thing. Maybe now that those characters are kind of gone and there's newer characters, I mean, what are you to look forward to? Because the whole thing of Star Wars was kind of based off of the story of, this Darth Vader guy,
Right.
And the ones in the 2000s were what made him become the Darth Vader. The earlier ones, and I feel like all that stuff happened, and now they're trying to. Now they have a blank new script to go off of, and what do you do? Obviously it's going to be different. If it's going to be different, well, the old real fans aren't going to like it. I mean, what would you, a Star Wars fan, want to see in Star Wars?
I'm not much of a Star Wars fan.
Oh, you're not. But what would you have wanted to see that would make it better? Because the storyline's so different now. You have different things. So
honestly, I just liked.
Because it finished. That whole section is done now. This is a new part. So what would be good to be in that new part?
Dude, I don't know. I like the old one. I kind of wish they would have left it where it
and
stood.
Just not redone it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little, and they kind of killed off the other guy, whatever. So.
And it's kind of like Harry Potter, where they made those 8 movies, and
then the last one was really weak.
I like the last one, but then they made the new Fantastic Beasts things with Eddie Redmayne.
Okay, I saw that. Is that actually? I was like, first thought that was like a spoof, like one of those movies, like scary movie thing.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that's real. Is it actually off of the Harry Potter?
Within the same universe or world as Harry Potter, but it's the same kind of thing where they're creating new characters within that, and there's few connections kind of to the Harry Potter story.
Have you ever seen the story, the show Lost?
Yeah. I never finished it, and I really wish I did.
And then I looked at the last 2 episodes of the season where they all died for, and I was like, oh, they all died. And I just didn't watch it.
I didn't know.
But
they died.
Oh, sorry, dude.
It's okay. It's not on Netflix anymore, which
they
really
took it out?
Me out.
It was good, but I feel like with all those TV shows, they keep going and going, and then they just want to change everything and go all the way back, and they keep changing things. They keep changing things because they need to have more content to go off of. It's like Friends. I'm gonna be honest. Friends, everyone likes it, but that whole Ross and what was the other girl's name? Rachel. Their relationship was so. Or How I Met Your Mother, in the beginning of the seasons of How I Met Your Mother, he would always talk to his 2 kids, which one of them played in Wizards of Waverly Place. I don't know his name.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He used to have his 2 kids, This is How I Met Your Mother, and then it got so long and they cut that part out, and I don't even know if they ever ended it with it, but I feel like when anything goes on for a long time, and you try to add more things to it, especially on TV shows, it just kind of loses its original, because they're changing the whole story all over again, because they're going to go all the way back, at least Lost. Okay, this is why this happened. Because first you're like, oh, they're going to get off the island. Then it's, oh no, they get off the island. Then they come back to the island. And then there's this. And then there's that. And they left a lot of stuff out. There were these killer polar bear things on the island. And then they just never talked about it again.
Right.
Like, hey, dude, are you going to explain this? Or?
Yeah, it just becomes so complex to a point that you have no choice but to leave some things out.
By the way, this location is perfect for rattlesnakes. And I need to have something when I bring guests out here, a stunt gun or something. What do I do if there's a rattlesnake? What do I do if there's a look at this. We are in the prime area spot for a rattlesnake to just jump out.
I think you would hear it.
It might rattle, might not. There's also mountain lions and coyotes over here. So
I think that's more of an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I went to Scary Dairy the other day. Actually, this was a few months ago.
Are you allowed to go there? Or is it a closed off area? That Scary Dairy is an abandoned.
Yeah, it's an abandoned dairy farm. It's technically if the
it's illegal.
If the police show up,
talk about it on the podcast. Let's go.
No, I don't think it's necessarily illegal because people go there.
People put it on Instagram all the time.
Right.
So what happened?
But I was walking there.
And you saw Mike Pence in the dark, and he came out. He's the Dark Knight. Don't ever compare him to the Dark Knight. My Christian Bale's my Christian Bale.
Man, the context to this is incredible.
We're not gonna get into it.
But yeah, we were walking, and then because I was with Travis Harrison, and I just hear him go wait, and I was like, whoa, what? And I look up, and no joke, I exaggerate pretty often, but this is not exaggerating. It was a 6-foot-long rattlesnake that was fat. It was so fat, man.
I thought you were going to say it's a ghost or spirit, and I was like, oh, great. Who did I
that happened too, but that wasn't half as scary as the rattlesnake.
You saw a rattlesnake?
Yeah, and it was huge, and it was just crossing the path super slow, because I think it had just eaten something. That's why it was so big.
Right.
And, dude, it was terrifying. It you see its tail, we finally walked by it once. It was, in the side brush, but, its tail looked like a Komodo dragon's tail.
How fat was it?
It was fat, man.
Okay, can you show me with your hands?
I don't know. I'm bad at estimating. It's like when people say like, how much do they make a year? I'm like, well, it could be 150,000. It could be 900,000. Who knows?
Like, is it this thick?
It was like,
Was it this thick?
I would say like this
That's
thick.
a realistic thick.
That's big for a rattlesnake. Rattlesnakes are normally like that.
Oh, I'm gonna have fun when I make the like comedy hike clip of this. It was like, that's fat. It's big, dude. It was this big. It was this. That's crazy, man. What were we talking about? We were talking about the acting thing, and then you went to Scary Dairy.
Then we went into Star Wars and people making more and more stuff off of those.
Yeah, those spin-offs and like those.
There's always gonna be haters, honestly. Like there's so many different opinions. Like we were just talking about The Office and how that 7th, 8th, 9th season without Michael.
Yeah, that
People
was
have
a
different
little.
opinions. But like honestly, for me,
I watched it. It wasn't bad, but yeah, it was a little.
Yeah, it wasn't like the. Man, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but it wasn't like the new Star Wars movies. But
no, I think everyone shares that opinion with you because I've seen a lot of clips on the new Star Wars thing.
Okay.
I personally don't like Star Wars. I've never been a fan of the whole lightsaber thing. I was just like, I'm more of a Michael Bay kind of guy. I'm kidding. Where every storyline has nothing to do with the other one. And
as long as it has
I am Optimus Prime.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf is out. Megan Fox is out. So
he's an incredible actor, by the way.
I know, but they kicked him out.
He's underrated, man.
He is underrated.
The things he does for his roles are
That's
actually
true.
incredible.
But what's crazy is that they make 3 of them, and whatever. He kills Megatron for the millionth time.
Kills Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
I'm just kidding.
They take them out in like the second one or whatever. But the weird thing is they recreate the story with Mike Wahlberg. Hi, I'm Mike Wahlberg, and
I play myself in every movie I am in.
Yeah, literally. Like, he's such a great actor. He does the same thing for every. No, that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's my least favorite actor.
I don't want to hate on him. I love his work ethic, but why is he your least favorite actor? You're gonna get hate for that, but keep going.
Oh, I know it will, but I'll stand by that.
Why?
There are a few movies of his.
Why do you not like it?
Because he's the same thing every movie, and he's not even. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't take acting to do what he does on camera.
Well, he's been in a lot of let's say low budget movies and stuff, and even high budget movies.
Well, he's pretty iconic.
Right now, he got really iconic. I mean, he was WWE, playing in a lot of movies that no one really knew about from the early 2000s, and he just kept going and going and putting. Now everyone's like, oh, The Rock and the Dwayne's and this and that and that. But 5-6 years ago, that wasn't a story. No one really. They knew The Rock, but he wasn't this big that he is now. This is now grown from his social media to all that stuff.
I saw Central Intelligence. That movie was actually kind of funny.
But it's but it is the same thing with Kevin Hart and him. I do see the same stories, which isn't bad. If you're late night, you just want a silly movie to see. What's wrong with that?
It's like watching Hotel Transylvania.
That's pretty much what. What was his last movie with the
The skyscraper thing? Oh, Rampage.
There's Rampage and Skyscraper, and it's the scenes, and it's I've seen it before. I see the trailer, and I'm like, I've seen this before. I already
You've seen the movie in the trailer.
I've seen
when you watch the trailer, okay, I've seen all I need to see.
It's more I've seen the script play out, or they're not gonna really be that crazy or whatever. I got confused.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I respect him. There's no doubt about that. But
let's talk about respect.
Oh wow.
Let's talk about just that. Because earlier we were talking a bit about, we joked about Mike Pence. I joked about him, but we were talking about political views, religious views, and I like having those discussions with a lot of my guests. It makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. Obviously, on the podcast, I'm not going to have you question you on certain things, or have you say certain things, because I don't want you to look good or whatever. I don't want you to look good or whatever. I only want to look good. Don't look good at all. But we were talking about how it's really important to talk about these things. It's important.
This is also why he pulled me out here at 7:30 in the morning. He doesn't want me to look good. He's got to look the best.
But I came at 7:50, and we started it at 9. Wait, we started recording, I swear, at 9.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Oh, so you left at 7. Wait, how did it take an hour from 8 to get... Well, first we walked the wrong way because I forgot the mic. But anyways,
Santa Barbara's a long drive, being all the way out here in Santa Barbara.
Where's Santa Rosa? I'll give out the spot. Anyone knows a better spot, let me know.
That doesn't have flies.
Yeah, these little flies. But this is actually not as
This
bad
isn't bad, no.
compared to what I had with Evan Shaw when
Okay.
we were over there. First of all, they're like these, I think wolf spiders are like these webs that were like tunnels
jeez.
underground all around us.
Gross.
We heard like deer and stuff in the corner over there. And then like, oh, speaking of deer, I'm kidding. Well, that's actually nice. It should have been like, speaking of cow, that would be mean. I always wonder what people think about like when I'm doing these. Because like they walk by, like, why is there a camera set up in the middle of, like, look at there's a person walking by. So we're just like assuming what they think. Anyways, this is so off topic. What's your thought on that? What's your thought on that, dude? About the idea of just having a discussion.
Are we back to the respect? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Well, we've talked about this, and I don't know. I got to be careful about making blanket statements, but I feel like from my conversations that I've had with people about controversial topics, like politics, like religion, stuff like that, it comes down to people. I don't know.
People all want the same thing, right?
It's bound to happen that people are going to disagree, and people need to know.
Fly in your mic. Okay, it's gone.
Oh, sorry.
People need to know what?
Still in the show is freaking fly.
No, dude, get out of here. You're a double.
People, they just need to know how to disagree correctly. Like, people are like, this is my way, and I think it's right, and I'm going to shove it down your throat. Well, when has that ever gotten anywhere with anyone?
Whenever you put down another group, or religion or idea to someone and say, you're wrong, that's wrong, all you do is make that thought for that person stronger.
Right. You shut off a good conversation easily.
But also, say there is a problem that happens and there is a wrong way of thinking to some aspect. And then, one group takes the complete wrong side of things, and the other group wants the right thing, but they're also wrong side, and you put this group down, and then everyone's on their own teams. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, we're to this, we're to that. Instead of, hey, no, we're all American. We need to all understand what it means to be an American. It's like, you're an American citizen, what's right for America. And I've talked about this a lot too. This is kind of a little side note to this, and I really want to keep it on point because I don't want to get too side notey. Like, side note.
Rabbit trails are good though.
Rabbit holes. Side noted a lot. It's so weird, and I've noticed this, and I've said it, and I've also heard it in other podcasts, Theo Von podcast, but it's almost like now if you're patriotic and you're saying America, it's almost like you're seen or painted as, and I said like a certain party, or like you're seen as being a conservative or something.
If you're patriotic.
If you're patriotic now, it's so weird because it's like, at what point did we all lose that if you're an immigrant, you can still be patriotic. If you just got here and you just got your whatever, card and all that, you can still be patriotic. There's no need to, there's at some point that, and I'm not saying like, I could see both ways. Like, I think there have been parts where maybe, and I've had other guests say this, where maybe immigrants or other people have been put down by another group that said that we're American, you're not. So there's some of that, but to a certain extent, like, I feel like we all need to just realize that we all want the same thing when you have discussions with other people, like everyone who has their political view, because at that same level basis that you can agree on with them, they want the country to be better. They want the taxes to be not as crazy as they are. They want people to, be healthy. They want it not to be too crowded. They want it to, they want our education. We all want our education system to be better. We want our, firefighters and soldiers to have the resources that they need. We want all these great things for America. Just the way we go about it is different. But if you realize that we all want the same thing, we all want what's right, you have that basis of like, oh, we're on the same level here. So like, why are you going on this or going on that? Like,
yeah, I agree with that to some extent, but also where the discrepancy lies is when people, we all want what's right, but then people have different views of what's right, and it goes into that, and that's where.
Well, it also has a lot of things about like how they're raised and how their parents thought.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's funny because I was talking to one of my best friends about this a few months ago, and I've started just making lists about things recently because I'll forget them later on, and then I'll look back one day at my lists and be like, oh, I remember this. One of the lists I made was just things to write about, because I know at some point in like my education in college or whatever that there'll be a time to just write about a topic that I choose.
Okay.
Whether it's like in a journal article or in a class or something.
Right.
And one of the primary things that came to my mind is like researching the effect of like the people around you and who raised you into your beliefs, and how much that changes in different cultures and and there's so much that goes into that. But like uh I think certain things unknowingly, like I don't even know that I think these things just because I was raised that way.
Yep.
And that affects so much. So say I was put in a completely different culture and I would think those things, then I'd be siding with these people, and I had no control over that because that's how I was raised. And so it's super crazy how those influences play into your thoughts
Yeah.
and your beliefs, and it's hard for people to think independently sometimes because of that. And I don't know, that's crazy, man.
I just think that, like, whatever your political beliefs, try putting yourself in someone else with another political belief shoes, see it from their perspective, get some insight on why they think that, like, what their point of view, because you need to challenge your own way of thinking. If you don't challenge that, then what are you doing? You know,
I've heard it that if you don't doubt what you believe, then you don't truly believe it, I don't think.
Yeah, and you have to think critically about what it is that you're believing in, but also, like, you could go off on a lot of things and say people are so different and people have so many different beliefs, but like on the core, we have the same beliefs. Every religion on the core has the same idea of do good, don't steal, don't do this. And the idea that you're going to get everyone to be the same way as you are is just not true. It's not going to happen, and I don't think it even really maybe should happen. Everyone should have their own right, respect to think the way they want to think, and that's the beauty of America right here, is that you can be whatever you want to be. You can be whatever faith, whatever religion, whatever sexual preference, whatever you want, you can be. You know, just don't, obviously lie, cheat, or steal, or hurt anybody else. But that's what makes America America, to me at least, is that nowhere on earth could you do this, or at least that's how it started. Now a lot of places are learning off of that, but that's what made America America, and still does to this day, because this is the place where, if you work hard enough, no matter who you are, you can make it. And that's just going off of big fluffy stuff, but yeah, just like, I think if people realize that we're all wanting at some level of basis what's good, that's what we all think. We want something that's good for us. So we can all relate on that. We all, we all love our family, and we all love our whatever, and we can all see that, like, oh wow, that person that I thought was on this party or thought this way actually is really similar to me. And once you realize that, you make a connection. And you can still argue and disagree on everything, but at the end of the day, still respect the other person.
Right.
If you're you voted for Hillary, you voted for Trump, whatever, like, let's at the end of it agree that, like, all right, well, we both just want to do what was best for the US. So one of us went this way, one of us went that way, whatever, but we should have these discussions. And it shouldn't be one of these things where it's like, don't ever talk about politics,
right,
because you're going to hurt their feelings and they're going to get upset.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I feel like we should talk about it, and we should still respect each other of it. And then the other thing is, like, there's no 100% right or wrong, because then when you look at why people went this way or that way, there's a lot of good reasons why they went for this party or that party or this politician or that politician. And a lot of politicians have their goods and bads. It's hard to find, because no one's really perfect, and there's a lot of things. So when you look at it that way, you can almost, like, see, wow. So now I see that, like, it's so complex. Like, it's not something that you could easily shut them down for being this way or being that way. But
right, I think to shut someone down for being.
Sorry, I talk more. It's kind of like I feel like I shut you down. I was talking.
Dude, absolutely. I'm offended right now.
You're triggered. You have to say I'm triggered. You're triggered.
Throw this mic off. Feed it to the rattlesnakes. No, I agree with a lot of that. I think that, like, stubborn forcing of beliefs can be, like, hypocritical sometimes, because it's like saying that you are absolutely right and that's it. So I think this is at least my belief in going into is understanding your own place in this world. And at the end of the day, man, and speak for yourself, but, like, at the end of the day, I'm not a perfect person. And like you said, no one's a perfect person.
Right.
And so to say that what I'm saying is true and right, and everything that comes out of my mouth is true and right, is false, because I'm faulty and I'll say things the wrong way. And we've talked a little bit on our way up here about, like, religion and belief and those religions and stuff. And for me personally, and what I believe, if I truly understand who I am and who the people are around me, just at least in their nature, in their heart, of not being perfect, just by seeing like all the bad stuff that happens around us and the ways I screw up, the ways that I like hate other people sometimes and stuff like that. To know that that's the state of our world and our humanity is like it can be really depressing, really sad. But to know that there's something to work towards and that there's a standard is something that I think gives people hope. And I think a lot of people have different hopes and different standards.
I don't really know if it is. What do you mean by depressing? Why do you think it's what would like explain further? Like I like the idea of work towards. It gives you hope. But like, what do you mean our current state? Like, what do you think's bad right now? Tell me. Like,
I'm not saying anything specifically to like 2018 right now. I'm saying all mankind for all history, just being corrupt as mankind.
How so?
Because we screw people over every day.
Can you explain a bit on that? Like,
okay, so here's what I mean. Because there's a difference between good and evil. Because of the fact that like evil exists and evil is a thing. That's what I mean by that. Every single human that's born into this world is at some point or another in their life gonna do evil. If that is if humanity and the like faultiness and evil of humanity is what we're basing everything off of, then
well, let me just check something out. I just want to see. So when did Homo sapien, like when did we become people? How long ago was that? Let me Google that. When?
Dude, there's so many beliefs on that.
People. Oh yeah, we're gonna get people triggered right now because I'm gonna go scientific and not religious. I'm just trying to figure out how long ago, because I just want to go off of what you just said, but I want to figure out like how long ago do we start like popping up? Like what was the date? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Can you even go with, okay, so you know about religion, like what date does it say for like for people?
I honestly think it's closer to more so thousands of years ago more than millions of years ago. Like I don't think millions is very.
Who says millions?
There's a lot of people who think millions.
Is it No, because hold on. I keep Googling and it keeps coming up with top 10 dinosaur myths. And people saying the dinosaurs and people live at the same time.
All right, so our next discussion topic will be on dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park. Talk about Jurassic World. I think that's a bad movie that they keep putting back up.
I haven't seen the second one. The first one, it was kind of entertaining, so I liked it for that fact.
Okay, dinosaurs died out nearly 65 million years ago before people on Earth. That is million. However, small mammals, including, were alive. Okay, when did people... What would you Google? What date were people around?
I think it's hard to know that. There's so many ways to track that down. I mean, when did
they find people's skulls? Like bones, like the earliest man. That's what I mean. Like
yeah.
Like because we were like
answer for this.
Oh, I see now what I'm saying. Because this kind of goes with people's religious belief. Because so not everyone agrees with if you evolved from apes and stuff. People don't go with that. That's the little trigger. Well, unfortunately, sorry for them. Oh, hold on. 1758, I think. Homo sapiens said 1758. Now I don't know if that's saying that's when they think people were around.
1,758 years ago.
No, that doesn't make sense. That does not make sense.
Because no,
hold on. That doesn't make sense because that would mean like the 1800s were only 100 years after they were around, and there's no way it happened that fast. All right, I don't know how to use Google. When did Egyptians come around? When were Egyptians?
They're still around.
No, I mean like when the pyramids are made or whatever. Okay, what does it mean? 3100 BC, before Christ. Does this make it 1,000,000 years ago?
No, because if Christ was 0, that would be 2,000 years ago, and then 30, so that's 5,000.
How interesting is that? Like, we don't talk about this. So, if a lot of things are disconnected from religion or faith, but like a lot of our dates.
I think BC stands for something else. Before Christ is another like term for it.
Oh, it's because I was like, it's amazing how universally everything says before Christ or after Christ.
Yeah, but then that goes into the whole thing. People believe a lot of different things.
Well,
about
that's Christ. What I was saying. Why do they use that then? I'm confused. So 3,100 ago, and we're in 2000. That doesn't make sense. How does that work? How does it go? 13. There's 3100, and this is so bad. I don't know any of this.
3,100.
Yeah, before Christ. Now we're in the 2000s. How does that?
So that's 5,100 years ago.
It's like
'Cause it's
roughly
2018.
5,000 or so years, right?
Yeah.
So so this is why I was talking about it. If you think about that on a large scale of a species, and then this is going to obviously trigger people because then you're saying, oh, we started from animals or not. But
that's okay. People can choose.
I think we can we could. Do you agree that like people started from not having, like we developed our own technologies slowly? Like you agree on that, right? Like we didn't start out with clothes. Like there's no argument on that, right? People can agree that we start out to some point with like wooden tools and we just worked our way up, and right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't start out with metal forks. Like you believe that, right?
Yeah, we didn't start out with iPhones.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't trigger you. I don't know if you believe that we all started out with iPhones.
Born out of this world, like boop.
If you think about that and how far we've come, it's only 5,000 years. That's not a lot of time as far as like we developed, or well, I guess I don't even care if I trigger people. Developed language and writing and all these things that happened, and learned communication, and started building our own infrastructure. So when you're talking about evil, well, I feel like we're just getting less and less of that so-called evil. I feel like we're working towards something. We just don't know what it is yet. And I think right now it looks super crazy because we have, we just now had the internet bloom. And I talk about this on every podcast. Like the internet was around, but the iPhone, the smartphone, everyone started getting it. Everyone starts going on Wi-Fi. Now we're all connected. Now we can all put out our thoughts and opinions out there online. Whereas a couple, like 10 years ago and stuff, like or 20 years ago or so, that wasn't a real thing. So I think that's why we're having so much backlash and arguments, because now we're all able to express and communicate with each other. So I think this is all just the beginning. And I bring up the whole thing and looking up of trying to figure out how long ago we dated back, because it's not that long almost. And it's like we've come so far and we've progressed so much and we're still getting better. And I feel like this is just the beginning of something that's going to be better. I think that we are going to get better. I have a lot of faith in humanity, and I feel that, we're you can look back in the old days and say they were better, but I feel like in a lot of respects, fact, you had the how African Americans were treated, you had the Holocaust, you had those things. So we're going from those evils to becoming a lot nicer with each other and learning how to respect and not discriminate against each other. That's just fact, right? If you think about how long ago, think about this MLK and all those things and how like segregation was around. That wasn't that long ago. Abraham Lincoln and all that stuff. The Civil War. I mean, like, or even like just the fact of like I think there are grandparents, if you're in the 90s or 100s, that they were around at the time of slavery, right? That was the thing, right? Because it was almost like 100 years ago or so. There was, well, maybe not slavery. No, that's wrong. Sorry, I'm so.
Dude, I get messed up with history dates all the time.
No, but I'm putting this online, and I'm like sounding like an idiot. But my point being is that I think we got rid of slavery, but there still is slavery around, and there's a lot of horrible things still going on right now. There are sex trafficking. There's a lot of bad stuff, but I bring up that example of like what Martin Luther King did, and because like just 100 years ago or so, like African Americans or colored people had to use different sinks. Yeah, think about that.
I think I don't know. I think in those areas, I think we've made large steps, but I think it just develops into more areas that we push under the rug sometimes. For example, look at all the great stuff from social media, but look at all the horrible stuff that comes.
Well,
from
it's just the early part of it, man.
Exactly.
It's all just the early stages.
Couldn't it get worse if it also
Why
could
would it
get better?
Worse if it could get better? Why would it get worse if it could get better, man? Why would you think that it would be getting worse right now?
Because this is just the beginning of the development.
It's almost like cigarettes. Like in the beginning, well, they've been around for a long time, but like in the 80s, like everyone thought it was okay to do it, or 70s, and then realized now, it's not good for you. Now everyone's doing vapes and e-cigs. But so
isn't that an argument for everyone sees technology when it's first developed as a great thing, and then they abuse it as the wrong thing?
Here's the thing. As long as and this is one of the real reasons I never really talked about it, why I'm doing this podcast. It's not only just for me.
I was going to ask you about that, by the way. I was like, where are you looking to like take this?
So I don't even care if it never gets more than 20 views a podcast, or if it never blows up.
Right.
Most of it was because I always wanted to create some kind of content and do something religiously, like just consistently, and not quit on it. So that's one thing. I've always wanted to do this, and I finally just put the hammer to the nail, or whatever you want to say. Yeah. Pedal to the metal, and I'm trying to do it. But the other thing was, I want to reach people and have like at least one person just change the way they think. I want them to try to be their best self. So when you're saying that, like, oh, don't you think it could get worse? I mean, I don't know necessarily. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because, like we said earlier, if there's more communication, there's more discussion about your thoughts and beliefs, I think that would eliminate all those things. And social media, look, anything that you can say that for everything. You know, if we could say it for guns, you could say it for cars, you could say it for a lot of things. There's going to be good and bad, but as long as you're not abusing it and you understand the differences, and there are a lot of abusements. I myself, I'm addicted to Instagram. I check it all the time, and there is some bad stuff, but there is always that chance, I believe, of stopping that, of making it better, of getting people to figure stuff out. But one thing that I don't no longer think in is this idea that everything's just going to be amazing like at once. I think that the beauty of the world that we live in is that there's always going to be some bad, some evil, some good, you know, and it's your job to weave your way through that and see how much, to the best of your ability, can you like help others around you and change that. And that gives me hope. And I've seen a lot of good out of people. And I think that, you know, it's just, so I don't know, I just have a lot of faith that we can always change and make things better. And I think that even if the times seem bad, I feel like it's just the beginning of something great. I refuse to just give up on it and think that things are going to go downhill. My lifetime might be the worst lifetime. And even if even if my lifetime is the worst lifetime, I'm never going to think that way. I'm going to fight against that for as long as I can. And I'm not going to let that take over.
Well, and don't get me wrong, like, I don't mean to come across as like a pessimist. Like, oh, like everything is going downhill. And
well, you don't want to be the happy, positive lie guy.
Right, exactly.
Where everything's just positive. There is negative. 100%.
I think there's negative. I just think
there's a lot of room for growth. But to say that it's going to go downhill and it's going to get worse when you don't know what the future is, why would you think that way? That, I feel like, is a little bit of negativity, don't you think?
No, that's fair. Yeah. It's also just from...
I mean, you could say, okay, but maybe what you were saying is the way that things are going right now, if it continues to go this certain path, it's going to get worse. So that I could go with.
Right.
That makes sense. I'll obey that.
I think what you're saying...
A little obey sign. Powerful obey.
And now for our next marketing
give out your sponsored shout out.
Obey. Nothing more. All right. So
nothing more, nothing less. The future's all negative. All right, we're out. Okay. All right. Keep going. No, go on.
I think what you're saying, there's a lot of validity there. That there's good and there's evil, and it's all over the place. So there's good and evil. The thing is, how do humans have, and gosh, this is such like deep existential.
I love this. Let's say it.
But
it's so dope.
Between like, you know that there's good and you know that there's evil. What gives you that sense of good and evil? How do you know where did that come from?
Okay, so you want to get into that. Well, I don't know.
Foreshadowed it with that.
Yeah, I mean, you're going hard on that. So that's
be a whole nother discussion.
That's a different discussion, I feel like, because what I was getting on you about was just the idea that the future is all bad because there's a little bit of evil, and why do we always have this evil? And there's got to be, but you kept talking about that's why you should have faith, so you can like have a good idea, even when times are bad, of what things should be like. So you work towards that, and I see that. Well, I think that's missing a lot, dude. I think honestly, there's a lot of problems with. Look, I don't care what religion you are, but I do, or even if you believe in it or not, but I feel like there's got to be something said, because I hear this a lot of people who have faith or believe in something. They say they might live longer, they're happier, they have a more purposeful life. I feel like you got to have some kind of why, some kind of belief of something good, right?
And that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
that's exactly. But what I'm saying, and is not that.
Oh, you're right. You're not saying everything's going to get bad. I mistook that.
What I'm saying is to depend solely on like the development of mankind to fix everything is a risky thing to do based on the history of mankind. Even though we are capable of, doing great things, and I see great actions by people every day, and people like. So
what do you think we should do? Are you saying we should all just believe in someone to fix it for us, or what do you?
No, and I think we should be active in doing that, but I think that a lot of it is outside our control, and it's funny, like. I'll be blunt about it, and you can choose to keep this in your podcast or not, and if you don't want to trigger people, but
it's fine. I'm just joking about it.
Oh, right. But like,
say it
for those who are. I'm getting to it, man. Okay. For those like, my beliefs are, that we were created, and it wasn't an accident that we were created, and that's kind of what gives us significance as humans. We're set apart from, say, that rabbit that just ran by,
Okay.
or just the natural things that happen around us. We're set apart because we're created and we're unique. And I was just talking to Nickon about
Who's Nickon?
the guy we work with, the
Okay,
rapper.
just keep going on, dude.
About scripture and what scripture has to say about that. And I, people may laugh at me for this, but that's what I base my belief system off of
Okay.
the Bible and the Word of God. And I think it talks a lot about this, that originally we were created in God's image, and He gave us hearts, and He gave us like good hearts and right hearts to do good things. And Genesis 3, Genesis is the first book of the Bible, and it talks about mankind messed that up by disobeying a command of the Lord. And the Lord said something. He said, "Do this, and don't do this, and you guys can do this." And they did the don't, like simple disobedience, right and wrong. That's when wrong came into the world.
Okay.
And from there, mankind for the rest of history was sinful. And it wasn't that they were primarily righteous, but that they were sinful. But the fact that throughout all the Bible, there's 66 books in the Bible. So
what are you trying to get at? Are you saying
I'm
that?
getting there.
Okay.
So there's a story of this race, the Israelites, wandering through the wilderness, and they're this chosen people, this people of God who keep disobeying Him, and He keeps pursuing this relationship because He's good and righteous, can't be around sin, but He still loves these people, and He still goes for this relationship and loves them and wants to reunite them, and they won't accept. They just keep screwing Him over, basically. Long story short. And in the end, you're just talking about before Christ. In the New Testament, and like a little over midway through the Bible, it talks about Jesus coming, and He fixes that bond between man and God. And some people see this as just a myth, as just a story.
Well, no, I like you talking about it. Like, I want people to come on this podcast and feel free to have discussions and talk about their faith and their beliefs, because there's a lot of people out here that do believe what you believe and what you're saying. And I don't think people are going to get hurt from it or upset from it or triggered from it, because you're not like saying I'm right, you're wrong. You're just saying what you believe, and that's totally fine. So I don't want you to feel worried about that. And keep going. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'm by all means, I'm not saying. Hey,
I'm just trying to figure out like what we're getting at with it.
And I'm getting there. There's just a roundabout way of doing it. Yeah. So Christ He died on. He came onto earth, and He.
Keep going.
You're good. And He lived a perfect life, and this is all stuff that, if you've read the Bible, you know. But if you don't, here's how it goes. And He lived a perfect life. He was the Son of God. He lived the perfect life, and He died, and then He rose from the dead, and He rose Himself. Never before has that happened. And so these things are what are laid out in Scripture, and there's just so much to talk about, man. I'm sorry.
But okay. So you're bringing up the Scripture, and you're saying that man has always had sin.
Right. Okay. And so what I'm getting at is, every time that man tries to fix things, it gets messed up. Every time, in Scripture at least, when man takes things into his own hand, like I was talking about in Genesis 3. I might have to disagree
with that, but keep going.
That's fair. Okay. In the long run of things.
So what should man do? That's what I'm trying to get at. You're saying every time man gets this, he breaks stuff. So what do you think that we should do?
And I need to be careful about using blanket statements like every time, because
it's fine. No, sorry. Just go. We'll go over it later.
I think that having a sovereign, like, overall power over that, who is above us, and having faith in that and seeing Him working in our world, is that hope that I was telling you about.
Okay.
That He's the standard of like goodness, and so for people to follow that standard of goodness that He's like called us to as followers of Him, I think that's where the solution lies.
So maybe what you're saying is not the solution of.
Oh no!
Solution of what?
Of like mending the like broken humanity, basically.
Okay, and you're not necessarily saying everyone should be of what's religion is this?
Christian.
Judaism.
Christian.
Buddhism. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with
Buddhist, actually.
Judaism. Not Judaism. Oh, I can't say Christians. What would you say? What Mormons?
No,
okay,
Christians.
No, it's just Christians, right? You're not actually saying that, but you're just kind of saying like we should all have something to believe, a person to believe in higher power, right? So what you're kind of getting at, right?
I personally would wish that people would see like the God of Scripture that I'm talking about. But all that to say, I'm not forcing, like saying, hey, this is
all right,
what you need to believe. But
go no, nothing. I'm just gonna have to get into it with you then.
Right, that's fair. And
yeah,
you'll probably
no. I mean, I like that you.
know,
No, I don't. I'm not gonna outsmart you. I just want to have the opposite side. I never want my podcast to be one-sided. So if you bring something on one side, I have to bring. So that's why I was like, I have to bring something on the other side because I don't want to seem like I'm biased to just like, oh, I'm supporting this 100%.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing, and I have to be a man of my word. In order to like disagree correctly, I need to be able to hear the other side of stuff. Let that challenge what I think. Maybe it'll change what I think.
I'm not trying to disagree with you. I mean, I think every religion, everyone who's in that would want everyone to be in that same religion.
Right, exactly.
Obviously, no one who is following this religion would 100% say, like, that's fine, yeah, don't ever see my point of view of my religion. You're still going to respect other religions, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of the push is you want everyone to be and to see it as yours. But that kind of is problematic in a way just because it is and it isn't. But from another point of view, it's like, you know, like, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those touchy areas where I can respect why it's touchy because there's a good
touchy
reason.
Area, but
there's a good reason for it too. Yeah. Like, I will agree on the idea that everyone should have faith in a higher something themselves or whatever. But I don't want to say necessarily just God, what that is or what it looks like. I do think that we should all believe in something bigger than ourselves. I'll say that. That's what I was trying to get at with you. Is maybe we're saying be in something that's big. I'm trying to just connect it with everyone of everything. That's why I'm trying to, because I don't want you to seem like you're just going on one side. And that's what you're getting at, really. That's the sense you're getting at. I mean, obviously, if you would go into Christianity, would be like more what you're getting at, but also more what you're getting at is like we don't have a sense of. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth. A sense of a purpose and believing in a higher power. And without that, we're lost. Is that what you're kind of getting at? If we don't have something to, like a God to believe in or a thing to believe in that's bigger, you're saying that we're going to be lost in a sense. And we're not going to have anything to look towards up to, right? Kind of like that. That's like, I'm trying to break down like Christianity. Not as specific, but I'm trying to break it down as like, what's the, you know what I mean? I'm trying to break down what's the not pillars, but like what's like the if you had to take the Christianity part out of it, and just say what you were saying earlier, you know, like just the idea of believing something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it would come down to is, I think it gives a sense of purpose,
and that's what you're kind of arguing against, like without a sense of purpose or higher than yourself.
Right, and I think as humans,
and the reason why I'm saying that is because I just want there to be a level playing field to connect with other people that aren't Christians, you know, that are maybe even atheists. I just want to connect to them too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, dude, like I'm, you know, who knows? I could be screwing up the definition of Christianity for so many people, and my words could be
but thanks for coming on here and speaking that. This is the first podcast where I had a guest, and I'm gonna be honest, I love all my other guests, but we got really deep into what we believe in, and you spoke about that, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that's the beauty of the time we're in now, is that you can speak more freely about the stuff. So that's why I just don't see it as a negative thing. But I do agree 100% with you that we should believe in something greater than ourselves, whether it make a community, a group, or something, just to help each other. Because by doing that, we're going to make more love. And that's what ultimately you want in the world too. You want more love and positivity and more respect and less hatred and less just, you know, evil, as you said earlier.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you keep saying like.
And I think the first way. Sorry to interrupt you again.
You're good.
Like the first way of getting that, I was interrupting the whole time. Just don't talk. Let me talk the whole time. Like the first way.
It's actually all scripted.
Of getting
just a bunch of lines.
Yeah, we have boards. We have boards. What are the teleprompters over there? I think the first step of figuring anything out, even if your argument or belief is to get everyone into a certain religion, ideally, I think the first step is to first get that basis of agreement with like what do we all connect with? Like,
that's actually a good point of argumentation.
Okay, so that's what I think everyone should do. Even if you're, and I'm not saying you are, but even if you are a fanatical crazy person and you want everyone to be a certain way, I'm not trying to say you, I'm just saying anything. Wouldn't your best bet to first be to be grounded, to get everyone connected to what am I saying? Point
no,
being, if you want to,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
You want to base it off of stuff that everyone can connect to.
You want to get on level ground with everyone, get everyone on the same page in order to point them towards a certain idea.
Okay, I'm gonna take that out. I don't want to point them towards a certain idea. I just want everyone to be level grounded. The certain idea I want everyone to get to is just to love each other and respect each other.
But I'm saying if you're
I'm not
trying
gonna
to
say that for religion, but if you were for a religious thing, I think you should do it that way as well. But I think ultimately you should let them choose if they want to be it or not.
Yeah, no, and I'm never gonna choose for someone.
We're almost sounding like we're gonna like put them on a basis of ground and put them into our idea.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Also, there's children.
Yeah, and a dog. What were you?
Not deer anymore.
What were you saying when I cut you off? I don't even remember it.
Yeah. No. Here's the end of it. Like I was saying, I may be defining it wrong or mixing up or jumbling words, just making it more confusing. At the end of the day, though, I've come to this belief that caused me much more joy than prior to knowing that.
Okay.
And much more understanding to my purpose of life than prior to that.
Okay.
And it's an incredible thing, even though like there are hard things in life and things are still tough sometimes.
Yeah. This
is what has brought me the most joy, and I think that's naturally what people want is joy and to be happy in life. It's helped me to love other people better, and I think that's how you mend a lot of the brokenness in America is people loving each other better. And so anyway, those ideas are so like incredible in my life and have worked out incredibly in my life that I just want other people to know about it, and they can choose whether or not to believe it, but I want them to know about it at least.
Well, I'm happy that you came out and said that, and like I said, like that's the point of what I'm trying to do here is I want myself to also get other perspectives. I don't want it to all just be my own perspective. Obviously, I have to step in sometimes just to say that I'm not a certain religion or anything either, or I have to be like middle ground. So that's all. I'm not trying to go against anything you're saying, but I'm just trying to get that middle ground.
It helps facilitate the conversation better.
Because I don't want it to ever be one way, and that's just I
appreciate that.
I've listened to podcasts where I
think
felt
others
left
will appreciate
out.
that.
And I also we talked about too, like I don't have the same beliefs that you have, but I can still respect and have a conversation with you and have you on my podcast and have a podcast. I'm blessed to even have a podcast, but I can have you on here and I can have you talk about this freely and I can listen to it and I don't have to believe it, but you're not going to hate me for not believing it. No. I'm not going to hate you for believing what you just said and walk away and be all butthurt because that's just not how the world's supposed to be. Everyone's got that's my belief. Everyone's got different thoughts. Everyone's got different beliefs, and that's great. Just love each other and spread that like positivity because that's ultimately, to me, life's too short.
As logic says, peace, love, and positivity.
There you go. I mean, life's just too short, man. You don't know what's going to happen.
It's true, yeah.
There's so much stuff that could happen at any point. You never even look up at the stars and think about, I talked about this last time with Evan, but there's like so much crazy stuff about like planets and universes and stuff we don't even know about. And that science kind of keeps hitting religion. I just keep noticing that every time I talk about it. But it's a given. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, dude. No, I definitely won't hate you. You won't hate me unless I compare Mike Pence to the Dark Knight.
Oh, we gotta be careful when we talk about politics, though.
True.
Because now it sounds like you don't like Mike Pence, and I'm making fun of him.
I like Mike Pence.
He likes Mike. I'm neutral.
Okay, I'm neutral. Sorry.
No, you have to be that way. I'm the neutral one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Now it sounds like I
think Mike's just a likable name.
Like Mike. What was
Michael
that?
Scott?
A baseball player?
Mike Trout. Hunter Pence.
I just joking. Isn't it a basketball player? Michael Jordan.
There you go.
That's what I wanted to say. Be like Jordan. Is there anything else you want to say? Any shout outs? Any plugins?
Not really.
That got so heavy, dude.
It was good though.
I feel like
I've connected you on a really good level.
I feel like on a playback we're just gonna be like, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say is really, and all you said is, I just believe this, and I would like everyone to believe this too. I'm trying to make sure it's not a bad thing or a good thing before I put this up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. But no, like I just...
that's the freedom of a podcast, man.
You have
the freedom to do what you want.
Look, I think that we're getting better, and I think that I think it's good to have a belief in a higher power, but even if you don't, that's fine, whatever you want to believe in. I think the biggest thing is like love and respect and understand that even though you have different views, sides, religions, faith, you can still at the end of the day have a discussion and be respectful with each other. And I think that is what this podcast really showed right there. And I think that also showed the freedom of, you said, freedom of podcast, freedom of speech, freedom of talk. These are all things that we should not take for granted. And I'm going to tie it back to being an American, being here in America. These are things that you should not take for granted. Because there's a lot of places on this world where you don't have that freedom.
Absolutely, yeah.
To speak what you want, to speak about your religion. There are places where you have to only be one religion.
Right.
There are horrible places really tough places. And I'm Middle Eastern. I'm not saying all Middle East is bad, but there are horrible spots in the Middle East where you don't have the freedom to be another religion. You have to be this religion. You have to be this. You have to do this. You have to dress like this. And I think, and then not even there, there's a lot of other places that are the same. That's just the one spot that everyone can agree on and see on because we see it in the news so much. But, have that different perspective and be thankful for what you have because what we have here is great.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to end it because that was like, we've done an hour right now.
That's a good way to end it.
That's a good way to end it.
This is a good conversation, man. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, man. I'm happy
Appreciate
I got you on before you got to go out.
Yeah.
And his dad has a nice Wrangler.
Oh.
It was just so good.
Actually, Rubicon.
Rubicon, sorry. What does Rubicon do? Does it just change the suspension? It's the same engine, isn't it? Or does it change?
Dude, I know nothing about cars.
You don't know anything about cars?
I mean, I know some stuff, but
You will never know what you mean to me.